priesthood of believers. Sometimes it gets called the priesthood of the baptized, and people like to call it that. So the priesthood of believers. Priesthood of believers is the teaching, the idea that every follower of Christ, every Christian has been given the office of the keys. That means that everybody's got it. You have direct access to God himself. You don't have to go to an intermediary. You don't have to go to the priest down at the local parish. You don't have to go to the archbishop. You can just go straight to God yourself. That's the priesthood. It also means that you, as an individual believer in Christ, simply because you have Christ's command and you carry his name, you have the ability, the responsibility, the privilege of being able to declare the gospel to somebody else. You get to do that. You can share the gospel with somebody who needs to hear it. You can forgive sins when they need to be forgiven. You can even do a baptism if you need to in a pinch. You can do that because you are part of the priesthood of all believers. And this priesthood of all believers really has nothing to do with the local congregation. It's not like the congregation says, we're giving you the ability to go do this. You have this simply because you are in Christ and you have this tremendous responsibility and privilege of having direct access to God. There is no hierarchy. That's the priesthood of believers. The priesthood of all believers is a foundational idea in the Lutheran Church, and Luther really loved this one. I can sit down and I can read my Bible, and I can pray, and I can talk to my friends, and this is legitimately God doing his work, even through me, a believer. And moms and dads do it all the times with their kids. Friends do it with each other, and it's an appropriate thing within the church. And I think this is what Luther had in mind when he talked about the mutual conversation and consolation of the brothers. It's the priesthood of all believers functioning as we carry out our responsibility, doing our things, doing the task of using the keys. So we do this at God's direction. And we do this without worrying about any kind of hierarchy or any kind of pegging order or any kind of going through intermediaries. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have that anymore. Okay. Now, if our task then, as the priesthood of all believers, is still the same, it's to proclaim the gospel. And that is also the task of the church when these individual priests come together and function as a unit within that church. That's the job there to proclaim the gospel. Which would tell us probably what we need to be doing in the church, just a little more and a little better, is equipping our people to proclaim the gospel. Teach them how to open their mouth and talk about Jesus. It's a good idea. It's a real good idea. And we need to work a little harder at that in lots and lots of ways. But that fits in here as well. Okay, let's see. Good. Okay? We'll talk about pastors more tomorrow. Now, the church then, functioning, proclaims the gospel, and one of the ways it does that is in its worship.